Hello, and welcome back to News Talk Daily. Now, we have the renowned novelist, Tsitsi Dangarembga, who will be talking about her critically acclaimed novel, Nervous Conditions. Can you please tell us about your background and where you were born?
I was born in Zimbabwe in 1959. I lived in England when I was 2. When I was 6 years old, I returned to Zimbabwe and finished my education at a missionary school. I then went back to England to pursue a degree in medicine at Cambridge University, but homesickness caused me to go back to Africa. In Africa, I continued my education, studied psychology first, and then film production and direction. Nervous Conditions is my first novel.
What is Nervous Conditions about?
It is based on my experiences as a teenager growing up during the late 1960s and early 70s. It centers around 2 female cousins, Nyasha and Tambu, who lead very different lives until their early teens. Tambu was raised in poverty on her family's farm in Umtali. Her dreams of getting an education are only fulfilled when her brother dies. Tambu is later acquainted with her cousin Nyasha, and the girls teach each other many lessons. On the other side, Nyasha had spent most of her formative years in England. When she comes back to Africa, she realizes the vast differences between European culture and African culture. This book depicts Nyasha's struggles through the eyes of Tambu. From this, readers are able to comprehend the continuing devastation that countries are experiencing as a result of Western colonization.
It has now been over 10 years since your novel overcame tremendous obstacles and reached the light of public life, both locally and internationally. Has the success of Nervous Conditions improved opportunities for female African writers?
I would like to think that the novel's success might have encouraged other young African women to go out there and do their thing. I hope I am not just flattering myself with this, because the shortage of role models is a critical issue for young black women in my part of the world. In the worst cases, ambition is completely lacking. So I hope my success has shown some young women here that with perseverance, much is possible.
After the enormous success of Nervous Conditions, what encouraged you to move into filmmaking rather than publishing your second novel?
The success of Nervous Conditions came late. Unfortunately, in any case, given the way the publishing industry appears to work, the success of the novel has not translated into financial security for me. Especially as an African writer living in Africa, I'm subject to all sorts of shocking exploitation without recourse. So it is good that I have a second career.
Your large body of work shows that in the grand scheme of things, gender matters to you. How did you become so interested in the convergence of gender, oppression, and Africa?
Gender matters to me because I'm a woman and experience firsthand the oppressive consequences of gender discrimination. I spend a lot of my considerable energy fighting that. And I think, why do I have to waste so much on this fight? It is energy that could be harnessed for the good of all people in a world free of gender oppression. I experienced similar oppression as an African person.
What is your latest novel about?
The Book of Naught continues the story of Tambu, the narrator of Nervous Conditions, and her quest towards becoming herself. This journey almost comes to a premature end at the Catholic convent school she attends in Zimbabwe.
Have you been able to use the skills you acquired while you worked as a copywriter in the marketing agency? Which are particularly useful in your film work with your production company and in the International Images Film Festival for Women?
That experience helped me to consolidate my notion of story. I also did a bit of directing, so that helped when it came to working with actors.
Have you found your study of medicine and psychology applicable to your work in writing and film?
Yes, I do actually remember some details from the time I studied medicine, which I incorporate into stories. Studying psychology definitely helped me understand character and the eccentricities of the subjects I write about.
Thank you for your time today, Ms. Dangarembga.
Thank you for having me.